Welcome to A Brief History of Nothing. This is episode 1.1, season 4, on the 1st of March 2016, and on this day,
a little thing called the Salem witch trials happened. Tituba, Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne were accused of witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts, and that just, like half the town got done for witchcraft. That was a bit, that didn't end well.
Really?
Really? On a slightly brighter note, and in a different part of the United States and a bit later, 1872, Yellowstone National Park was established, and one of the first national parks ever established. 1941, Bulgaria joined the Axis in World War II, i.e. Germany and their mates.
Yes.
And in 1966, the Soviets tried to launch a probe to Venus. Didn't work so well, crashed.
Well, it got there.
It just didn't
stop.
Didn't stop in time and went
bang.
Bang.
Alright, tonight we're going to do unsolved murders. Murder mysteries. Right, we'll start off with the movie mogul and director, producer, the murder of William Desmond Taylor. He was found shot dead in his house with a single gunshot wound to his back. The police quickly ruled out robbery, being as he still had cash and his diamond rings on him. They had a very long list of suspects that they worked their way through. Top of the list was his valet that he had recently sacked, was also the valet that he had recently hired, who had a very shady past. His girlfriend Mabel Normand was high on the list because William had been paying a lot of attention to an up-and-coming starlet, and they suspected that Mabel was a bit jealous. But with all these list of witnesses and everything, they never managed to solve the case.
No.
So in from 1922 till now, it has simply gone
cold.
Unsolved. Yes. Well, it'd be a bit hard to solve it now because everybody involved would be very dead.
Yes, very, very dead.
Another interesting one in the US happened approximately 30 years ago. The murder of Ken Rex McElroy. He was a thoroughly horrible person. He was a bully, a drunk, a career petty criminal, suspected pedophile, and general arsehole. He was killed in broad daylight in a town in Missouri, and nobody saw a thing, and nobody has kept seeing a thing for 30 years.
A little bit convenient, that, really.
Yes, that's a bit convenient. For 30 years, no one has come forward, said anything. I think the town just wanted to be rid of the guy.
Yeah, but if you really want bizarre, December 1, 1948, Summerton Beach in Adelaide, in South Australia, a dead man just sort of appeared leaning up against a wall there, and all the tags off his clothes were cut, no ID on him. None of his fingerprints didn't match anything in the police database.
All he had on him was a piece of paper, wasn't it?
Piece of paper that said, Taman Shud, apparently in Persian means "it has ended."
Yes, and that was ripped out of a book of poems by...
it was a book of Persian poems called the Rubaiyat.
Yes.
And a guy had a copy of the Rubaiyat just turned up in his car randomly.
Well, yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd expect that.
Yes, in South Australia in 1948, there would have been a lot of people reading obscure Persian poems.
It was the top of the thing. It was the thing to do in the late 40s in Australia.
No.
No, I didn't think either. The piece of paper torn out in this pocket matched the book. There was a bit missing out of the last page of the book, and it matched perfectly.
Yes, and there was a name on there, Lingest, Jestlyn, Jestyn, and a phone number, and they tracked the phone number back to a woman named Jo Thompson. When they interviewed her, she said she knew nothing about it, but the police were always suspicious.
Yeah.
But could never prove anything.
Well, this is before DNA evidence, and a lot of forensics was still...
Well, yes, and she had a son, Robin, who the police always assumed was the dead man's son.
Because the teeth matched pretty well, and a lot of the facial features sort of matched up.
Yeah, so that was rather a strange thing. Still to this day, they haven't solved who the Summerton man was.
Yeah, and in those days, paternity tests weren't really a thing.
No, they weren't really a thing.
No.
I mean, there have been a lot of other unsolved mysteries, but we thought we'd take three that are a bit lesser known. I mean, we could have gone with the Beaumont children. They disappeared in 1962 and have never been seen since. But we thought it's been done to death, so we'd go for something that was a little lesser known.
Yeah.
All right, now let's have some birthdays, and it's something a bit brighter.
Yeah, something a little bit upbeat.
Yes, Frédéric Chopin was born on this day in 1810.
Yeah, little known classical composer you've
Yeah.
probably never heard of.
You had a short waltz,
Yeah, that's it.
the minute waltz,
Yes.
not the minute waltz.
Minute waltz. Okay then. Another obscure guy you've probably never heard of.
Oh, Alton.
What?
Alton.
Alton?
That was his first name. Glenn was his middle name.
Oh, okay. Yes, Glenn Miller. You've probably heard his music, even if you're not someone who likes
Yeah, you could get
jazz
in the
bands
mood.
from the 30s and 40s. You've probably heard his music.
Yes, you could get in the mood.
You get in the mood.
Yes. Or maybe you'd like a string of pearls, possibly a Moonlight Serenade.
Something like that. As a kid, I used to confuse Moonlight Serenade with Moonlight Sonata, even though they're two completely different pieces of music written hundreds of years apart.
Yes. Well, actually, one of the interesting things was that he had a hit with a tune called Perfidia, late 30s, early 40s, which was then redone in the 60s by, I think, might have even been the Venturers.
Yeah.
The Ventures?
Wasn't it actually a song? There were actually lyrics, although Glenn Miller and the Ventures actually did an instrumental version.
Yes, Perfidia, which...
And it was actually later covered. There was a cartoon in the 90s about two hippos called George and Martha, and they did a cover of that as their theme tune.
Oh, okay. Right.
As you do.
Yes, well, a very well-known English actor, David Niven, was born on this day in 1910. Also, anybody remember Hogan's Heroes and LeBeau in Hogan's Heroes? I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who remember LeBeau.
They're old like him.
The actor Robert Clary was born on this day in 1926. He played LeBeau. He was actually French. He immigrated to the States in 1947 and became quite a nightclub singer of quite some note before he...
A nightclub singer of some note.
Oh
dear. Oh dear.
Okay, now, and talking about singers, 1944, a little-known rock singer named Roger Daltrey came into the world, frontman for The Who. Still the frontman for The Who, although I don't know how many original members would be left now.
Yeah.
One got done for kiddie fiddling, one died, and there was only a four-piece band, so that only leaves two of the original members.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yes, a lot of old bands, they tend to chop and change a lot over the years.
Well, funnily enough, people in their 70s are not as sprightly as when they're in their 20s.
Really?
Yeah. I heard this. Lucky I'm young and youthful and stuff.
Yes. In an old way.
Okay, anybody remember the Dukes of Hazzard? And Daisy from the Dukes of Hazzard. That was played by not Barbara Bach, her sister, Catherine Bach. She played Daisy in Dukes of Hazzard. She was born on this day in 1954. Who's into the supernatural?
Not me.
You're not into supernatural?
No. I tried to watch it, but it was like...
Okay. Jensen Ackles was born on this day in 1978.
And Tumblr has forever been grateful.
Now, Australian racing driver Will Power was born on this day in 1981. To end on a non-musical note,
yeah.
in 1994 Justin Bieber was born on this day.
Yes. we had to end on a sad note. Sorry.
Yes, I've got an old sewing machine at home, and it's a better singer than Justin Bieber.
Yeah, a good thing for auto-tune, isn't it?
Yes. All right, that's our show for tonight. So if you like us, like us. If you don't like us, inflict us on your friends. Share us. Give us comments. We'll see you on the dark side. We got cookies.
Bye.